Alright, we back in the building. Today we're going to discuss LFOs. This is upon request by my man Fabio. Alright, we're going to discuss the degrees of sound. We're going to discuss the LFOs, the sacred geometry type of stuff. You know the diagrams. I got them. How this all breaks down. That's all the LFOs together: square, sine, saw, and triangle. So these are the degrees. Alright, so and also my man Richter needs to understand the filters, like, bust it down. So I got all the diagrams to show this. So let's talk about the sine. Let's look at the face of a clock. There's 8 points. There's the 90, 45, 180, 45, 90, 45, 0, 45, right? Okay, now on the outside you see that there's a black 0, 64, and 127. That represents pulse width. Okay, now if it is at a positive amount, if you set your degree to 0 and your pulse width to 0, this is going to go up. It's going to match it. At 45 degrees, you will be at 64. In between 45 and 90 degrees, you will be in between the regions of 64 and 127. From 127, you will go back to 64, back to 0 at 180 degrees. What you have to understand also with LFO is that this is what's going on in inversion. Okay? This is exactly what's going on at inversion. Now, if it's inverted or at a negative amount, say at pulse width, if you have a pulse width of 127, you're going to want to go to negative 64 because 127 is going to go to 0. Back to 64 and 127, see, at 180 degrees. Now this is going, look, this is for everything. This isn't just for sine. You use degrees for all the LFOs. You guys know that. Okay, this is triangle. If you put two triangles together, it makes a diamond. If you put two squares together, it makes like a tennis court, or I don't know, whatever, man. I don't want to get into my dumbass abstract things, And then here's the bow tie. That's what the saw makes, right? Like a little bow tie. You gotta get dappered up and, show them how to do it. But you have to understand that because the saw comes up naturally, this is how the LFO is shaped. It comes up. 0 point is going to start at the bottom and go up to $1.80. So it's going to go 0, 64, 127, 127, 0, 64. It kind of like stays in between here because it's weird. Saw is different, see? So that's how you have to understand that stuff. Now, as far as the LFO, okay, how's it moving stuff? Okay, well, I put these graphs here. Now, this is random grain. If you're at 0, you're at this heavily scattered. Then you're at scattered. Then you're at clustered and heavily clustered. We understand that clustered and heavily clustered is from the 45 degree point. See? 45 degrees, if you look at this little miniature clock here, this is what I put it right in here, it's 45 degrees, you see that. At 90, you're all the way at the dense. So if you do this, for resonators or singing swords, stuff like that, you look at the diagram, you see exactly what's going on. But it comes back up. Huh? You see? So that's how that works. That's how the LFOs are functioning with pulse width modulation. Now, what you have to understand is that's the pulse width modulation source. The LFOs in 0 key tracking behave as an envelope like this. If you have it at 100% key tracking, you can now tune it because 122 is an 8-foot oscillation at 100% key tracking. So if you go down to 110, we're going by octave intervals. We're not using major or augmented or yatamashata, right? We're just going by octaves. We go from 8 foot to 16 foot. 8 foot is 122. 110 is 16. Then 98 would be what? 32. 64 would be 86 on the, this is the speed. The speed. Okay? Octave intervals. Now, okay, I've been talking a lot. We'll get to the filters though, Richter, in a second. Right now we got to do this rock. LFO moment. So let's take the speed back down to 7. That's a single cycle in an envelope. We'll take it back to sine. You guys load in modular illusion something, but I have a triangle 2 in there, so you can load that in. Now they're both at 8 foot. They both have volume. There's no filters going on. We'll bypass it just in case. Now what's going on? Pulse width is 0 on oscillator 1 plus 63 on a pulse width amount. LFO 1 is the source. LFO 1 is also the source of pulse width on oscillator 2. Now there's no amount. Now listen. Now when I add it in on a negative, you have to remember, now it's going like this. So your image is phasing. You hear that? All the way out of phase. That's why you plug it back in. Oscillator 1, FM source is oscillator 2. Think of inversion. Wow. 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 So you think of another LFO going like this on the bottom half. This is how you have to look at it. You have to look at it like this. You have to visualize this. Visualization is key. When you learn to visualize this, you realize that you're not visualizing, you're experiencing it. And you understand the way the sound's behaving. It's going in a circle. It's going in a diamond. Mm-hmm. It is making the shape of a bow tie because it's going to have to go up to the peaks and then down and then across. That's the saw. This is how it works. I promise you that. And when you spin it, and if you're messing with you're messing with pulse width and using this LFO, you're going to change where you're at when it comes down to phase. Okay? And where you're at in the pulse width, like on the peaks of the resonance, right? Now you hear that. Now what happens with the LFO is you speed it up. Now let's go back. Initial. Bring amp on. Since this is envelope mode, take it back to 7. Key tracking is 0. Key track is 0, start phase 0. Crank this back up. Turn to a resonator, right? Singing swords. See how it starts low? And then it goes high? Because this is what's going on with the resonator. It's starting low and getting high and then getting low. Because if it starts high and then it starts getting low at 0. If it starts at 127, it's going to be okay. Right? So you control it. So that's how LFOs work as far as when you're using programs and pulse width modulation and bata bata. Alright, so I've been talking a lot. But, man, dude, I don't mean to, but I have to do this because I guess I have to explain this shit. If I don't explain it, then what am I doing it for, right? So I gotta explain it thoroughly. Now, the degrees. Oh, we have some other stuff in here. Ah, damn, this tape's getting long. It's like almost 10 minutes. Fuck. Okay, so now when we're coming to phase, listen. It's changing from the high cycle to the low cycle. So it's going from dee dee doo 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 doo. It's around the clock. And if it keep going dee dee doo 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 doo, that's how it goes. Look, if I hold it, listen. See what I mean? It goes around the clock. It's just like a clock. That's how LFOs work. Now, when you want to mess with filters, take a key tracking like that and turn a filter on. Low pass 12. You take the LFO, negative amount, what do you think will happen? If you do it in a plus amount, take see? The filter opens up with it. See what I mean? Now, I didn't mean to bring in phase to really, you know, I know some of you guys don't have that. It's cheapy, get it. You know what I mean? What, I think it's $10. You get 120 plus items or some shit. I don't know. And then you get to play, mix shapes and do more and more. You know? So like, yeah, I gotta put some stuff on the website. It's rough, man. I gotta add some stuff, meta materials. I'm working on. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so random grain, we do the same thing. We move the grain from dense to, or scattered to dense, or, you know, clustered and whatnot. Right? You hear that? Now it's moving the filter and the grain. Now you hear it. You know, I'm moving mine. About that, boy. Right? About bad. So, my bad, man. Look, but see, okay, so let's measure this LFO to 8-foot oscillation. We'll turn it up to 100% on key tracking. We'll take it up to 122, so it's going to get a little bit atrocious. Probably with the filter as well, but be prepared, man, because this is what we do. Those grains are going crazy. Since the LFO is going fast, it's going from scattered to dense. You know what I'm saying? That shit's going crazy. Now, if it was on a resonator doing that should be going up and down. Whoa! Hold, man. This thing on some meth. You put that. I'm telling you, put that LFO on some meth, man. That thing be cruising down the highway, hot pipe under the sea, cops in hot pursuit. Boop, boop. You feel me? Roadside Contra. Let's get it. So let's take it down, put it on, slow it down. Then you gotta mess with cutoff. So you have to match it up, and you get down all the way to 2. If you're messing with octave intervals, like I said, it's 122, 110, 98, 86, 74, 62, 50, 38, 26, 14, and 2. 2 being the slowest, which would be 8,192 feet. Funny number, Mr. Jake, 8,192. I remember you saying that number in inbox to me about a little something, something. That's funny about the samples. And 8,192 feet is a speed of 2 LFO at 100% key tracking, which would be a very long distance of stuff, which is what I would imagine how cell phones work. over such great long distances, because the wavelength would have to be an LFO at the speed of that, which would give us the bandwidth to talk wherever we please, except for remote areas, right? So let's get back to the filters and LFOs. That's crazy. I don't know, man. So this is okay. LFO, liquid metal undefined. That's this. So the LFO is going from here to here to here to here to here to here. But when you phase it, you know, if you put things in phase and you set it up the same way, this is how it works. But the LFO is going to move in the direction in which you have it set on the calculator, whether it's plus or minus. This is how you do it. Okay, so liquid metal undefined. Let's add in some FM. And let's do it in the opposite direction. You know? Super low. It's because it's phased out. So you do that. Oh, speaking of which, yo, I got another free pack for you. I accidentally deleted it though from way back in the day because I was cleaning off shit from my computer. It's the liquid metal stacks. So it's like you get a taste of liquid metal combined with some phase. I can't explain how it's done. I will make it, and I will make it on the fly. I'll try to have it done this weekend, or like before this week's up, next coming week, and I'll give it to you guys in the inbox. You know how I do it. Right direct. It's called liquid metal stacks. Be on the lookout for it. This shit is fucking fat as hell. I think I did a tape on it back in the day, like when I made it. But when like I said, I was cleaning out my computer, and I think I really honestly deleted the folder, which was, you know, I needed a couple of them from the whole community, because sometimes that shit happens. You try to clean stuff up. It's called housekeeping. I got to do it. All right, this tape's getting long. LFOs, maybe might get into it a little bit on the next tape, but we got to get into filters and stuff like that, and maybe we could bring it all together as we always do, huh? The grand scale picture. All right, it's the DOG. It's your boy the dog, the crow dog. DOG, Delusions of Grandeur. I'll catch you on the flippy.